Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven with this week's recap and review of Animal Kingdom Season number 3, Episode number 12, which is titled Homecoming. So, in the previous episode, we saw that after Smurf saved Baz from Lucy, Baz told Smurf that he knew that she's the one who killed Pope told Smurf that my bad. Pope told Smurf that he knew that she had Bass killed. So this episode opens up with Pope meeting up with some guy, and he takes some sort of gas cylinder and a liquid which is supposed to help kill someone who wants to die or who is very close to dying. Like sympathy killing. So yeah, Pope is ready to kill Smurf. And over at the house, Craig wakes up and he meets Smurf in the kitchen, and Smurf makes him breakfast. And she also gives him like $10,000, which is his share of all of the money and the jewelry that she'll be fencing. So yeah, you can see that Smurf is really trying to get on the good sides of the kids, especially after they helped her deal with the Lucy situation. She also asks Craig if he had met Pope, and Craig is like, "No, I haven't." And Smurf is like, "Yeah, that she's very worried about Pope, and that he has that specific look on his face." So we cut to Jay, and he is jogging. He is on his usual morning jog, and he stops in front of this house. I guess he likes it. He wants to buy it or something. So over at Darren and Adrian are having breakfast, and Adrian asks Darren about his mom, and Darren is like he hasn't talked to Smurf ever since the Lucy situation, so that's like 4 to 3 days. And Adrian is like, you need to, yeah, that even though Smurf is upset with Darren, Adrian wants Darren to reconnect with his mom or something. And we also find out that Adrian's dad isn't okay with Adrian being gay, and there's this little funny competition between Adrian and Darren about whose family is more messed up. So it was fun, and Darren is like, even though your dad isn't okay with you being gay, my mom is someone who initiated a gunfight with my dead brother's girlfriend, so my family is more messed up. So then we move on to Pope, and he's at Baz's old place, and he notices that all of the furniture from Lucy's room is gone. So over at the house, Smurf and Jay have a conversation. Smurf also gives Jay his cut of the money and tells Jay that he's Baz's son. So Baz's cut belongs to Jay. And I'm like, what about Lucy? Is someone even like saving money for Lucy? But anyway, this is also the scene where Smurf asks Jay that apparently 2 or 3 properties are missing, and Jay instantly tells Smurf that she should ask Morgan because she brought him a lot of paperwork to sign, and you can instantly tell that something is up. Jay did something, and I can't wait to see how Smurf finds out and how she decides to deal with it. Then over at the kitchen, Pope comes in and he asks Smurf about Lucy's furniture. It turns out that Smurf had all of Lucy's things brought to their house, and she also pulled some strings. So Lucy will be coming back from her foster family. And Pope isn't happy about it. And Smurf is like, the reason that Lucy is coming to live with them is because they accepted Smurf being Lucy's sole guardian. And I'm like, well played, Smurf, well played. Because you can tell that she doesn't necessarily care about Lucy, but after she figured out that Pope knows that she's the one who killed Baz and that Pope is going to get revenge, getting Lucy into the house and being her sole guardian, that's Smurf's way of staying safe. Because if Pope kills her, then Lucy goes away. So well played. Anyway, over at the beach, Frankie comes in. She has been missing, like she wasn't in the previous episode. So Frankie comes in and she asks Craig to wear a suit because they're going somewhere. So over at Morgan's place, Smurf goes and meets up with Morgan, and she tells Morgan about the properties that are missing. And Morgan is like, Smurf, I didn't do anything. And she also tells Smurf that Jay came to her asking about opening some holding companies, and she said no. So you can see that Smurf is very disappointed in whatever is happening, and she wants to know the truth. So, and this is a very creepy scene. You can see that Jay has been spying on Smurf. Now he knows that she went to meet Morgan, and yeah, I ended up being afraid for Morgan's life. Over at the docks, Jay meets up with Mia, and I guess he asks her for a boat to rent. Then over at Baz's old place, Pope is contemplating about whether or not he should kill Smurf, and Darren comes in to meet Pope, and Darren tells Pope that he needs something to do. He isn't sleeping well, and he needs to be distracted. And this is also the scene where Pope ends up telling Darren that he might end up killing Smurf. So over at Craig and Frankie's, like what they are doing is that they go to this rich house, and this house is apparently someone who is a famous surfer, and you can tell that Frankie is like trying to decide to rob him. So now this is a scene where Adrian meets up with this guy, and Adrian is supposed to smuggle drugs through his surfboard. And I'm like, when I wrote the review of the previous episode, I knew that Adrian and Darren were going way too smoothly, and this is Animal Kingdom, and things aren't supposed to go smoothly. So yeah, with Adrian having to take drugs out, move drugs out of the border, like yeah, you can be sure that with the next week's episode being the finale, Adrian is going to be caught, and this is going to throw a wrench in Adrian and Darren's relationship, because come on, it showing that Adrian is moving drugs, like there's no way that this show won't end with a cliffhanger or showing Adrian in trouble. That's what I think. Anyway, moving on, we have a conversation between Sir Smurf and Pope, where you can tell that Smurf has set everything up for Lena. And then Smurf also gives Pope his cut of the money, and he doesn't want it. And then there's a conversation with Smurf telling Pope that she knows that he loved Baz, but Smurf can tell that Baz never loved Pope, and that he always wanted Pope to be lesser than him. But yeah, Baz isn't allowing Smurf to get into his skin. Then Smurf and Pope and Lena reconnect, and this was a very sweet scene. Then another scene, we see Darren looking at houses to move in with Adrian with, and I'm like, yep, like I said, with the fact that this episode showed Adrian is going to smuggle drugs, you can tell that Adrian and Darren are going to face a lot of troubles. And I'm like, why Animal Kingdom writers, why would you do this to Adrian and Darren? Why can't you just let these two be? So over when Lena looks at her room, it turns out that Lena doesn't like pink, and Pope decides to take Lena away. And over in the scene, we see Jay kidnapping Morgan, and I'm like, I mean, I don't necessarily dislike Jay as a character, but the way that he's handling the situation with Morgan, I'm like, Jay, if you end up becoming a murderer, I will end up disliking you, because after you murder someone, there's no going back, especially if you murder someone in cold blood. So over at Frankie and Greg's, they keep on talking about all of the art that this rich dude has, and yada yada yada. So Pope takes Lena to her old house, and Lena is like, where are we going? Are we running away? And even if we do run away, where am I going to go to school? And she also tells Pope that she was fine at the foster family, and that she's whenever she's around Pope looks sad. So yeah, Pope has to decide what to do with Lena. So over at Darren's, Smurf goes and meets up with Darren, and she gives him his cut of the money. And also, she tells Darren that he needs to keep an eye on Pope, because Pope he needs his family now more than ever. And you can tell that Smurf is like trying to get the boys to surround her so that she's protected from Pope. So over at Joshua's, you can see that Morgan tried to save her life, and she hits Joshua with a shovel or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, Jay ends up throwing Morgan out of the boat, over the boat, and however, he also ends up hurting his leg. So Morgan is bleeding, and he also, I guess, tried to track some shards. And I'm like, way to go, Jay! You are now a killer, because I don't think Morgan will be able to survive, but who knows what happens. But if Jay is a killer, then yeah, I will dislike his character, because again, like I said, there's no coming back from cold-hearted murder. So Frankie and Craig decide, like Frankie tells Craig about her past. It turns out that even though her father, like they all lived in a van, his father appreciated good art, and I guess Frankie wants to steal good art and these wine bottles from this rich guy. Let's see. So over at the house, everyone is here for Lena's homecoming party, and Smurf calls Pope and asks him where he is and where is Lena, and turns out that Pope ended up taking Lena to her foster family because she's happy there. And he also says goodbye to Lena and tells her that only Pope's sister and Lena's father were the ones who were kind to Pope. And yeah, he just loves Lena way too much. So Joshua calls Mia like, okay, you can tell from my tone that I dislike Jay so much that I'm now going that now I'm going to call him by his name Joshua. I just can't call him Jay anymore. So Joshua calls Mia to his new house that he bought, and you can tell that he bought this from Smurf's money without her knowing about it. And he asks Mia to come live here. So over at the house, Pope comes in and he confronts Smurf and tells her that he's going to kill her because she's the one who killed Baz. And Smurf plays the whole thing around, and she's like, Pope, you are confused. I didn't kill Baz, and that I'm going to go and bring Lena back. And Pope is like, you won't do any such thing, and Smurf is like, I won't do anything if you promise that you'll come back to me, because if you are staying with me, then I'll even forget that Lena even existed. So to keep Lena safe, Pope decides to accept Smurf's terms. So Joshua comes back home, and Smurf notices his injury, and she also tells Joshua that she has been calling Morgan, and Morgan hasn't been picking up, because you can tell that Smurf know that Joshua had a hand in the tree properties that disappeared, and Joshua tries to play it cool, but you know that he's in trouble. Like, this is an expression that clearly tells that Smurf is going to figure out what Joshua did. And this episode closes with Pope sitting in Lena's new room. And yeah, let's see what happens in the finale. Like I said, I'm really worried about Adrian and Darren. I don't think these two are going to have a smooth sailing experience as far as the finale is concerned. As far as Pope and Smurf are concerned, I don't think he's going to kill Smurf yet. And I'm also interested to see what Frankie and Craig are doing. As for Joshua, yeah, let's see what happens. And if Smurf does end up knowing what he did to Morgan in the finale, let's see how he and Smurf decides to handle the thing. I'll also do a review of this for the Geek Theory. The link to that will be down in the comment section below. So let me know what you thought about this episode. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.